Today's helpful how-to video will be showing you how to assemble a PTO. We picked up this PTO kit for a PTO. Now these PTO kits can be quite hard to find for these older models PTOs, but most of these kits do come in with universal parts and part numbers. If you can figure out what part number goes to what, you can find out what kit has the part numbers you need and buy that kit. This kit, from about an hour of research, works for this pump. This pump is, I think, what's this, 480 CIP 430, my bad. This right here is for, let's see, that's the part number and components and the part number, but you can go on that, and I'm pretty sure it didn't list the 430, but it uses the same gaskets as the 430, the same O-rings to seal. Pretty much everything here fits into this, and models is mostly based up on the casting a lot of times, and sometimes the accessories and everything. And as you can see, I don't know if you've seen it in the previous video, my gear was killed out. I done touched this gear up and reshaped it, and it turned out nice. It engages. I tried it on the transmission. It engages nice and smooth. You know, it's good to go. I put this back together and then set it back on, and you can engage it so smooth on the transmission. So I should fix the engagement problem without having to buy new gear. And I have my marks here for my covers and such. So let's go ahead and just get started assembling this. So we got the kit. I actually picked this kit up. It come from eBay. Actually come from a company that sells on eBay. And it was it's the cheapest one I found with the most quality looking parts. I had this list here. And it's from Leon's Truck Parts. Do you need any contact information? It's odd, and they sent me this cool little pen. So that's nice to get that. Now the price of this kit, I don't remember, to be honest with you, but I can put a link, or was this the only one I had? I can put a link in the description, or details in the description about what this kit was. I think it was about 30 or 40 bucks, somewhere in that. So let's go ahead and open it. Those are gaskets, seals, all the lock rings, and all that good stuff. So this is some I guess them would be boat shims, kind of lock washers for boats. I ain't 100% what these are. These don't fit a PTO, so I will not be using them. If they do fit, I ain't found that where we went though, and I have disassembled this quite a bit. So that's probably for another model. We can set it to the side though. We got lock washers. That's another thing I ain't come into contact with. Unless they are on this shaft, once you remove this bearing, you know, but it looks like this is solid, so I doubt it's that. So we can lay these to the side too. Depending on your pump, you know, you will have to use it. Now this is needed for a pump. That's this seal right here. It's the exact same size. I got the part number off of it. You can see the part number is P216. This one is P216, should be. Let's see. What's that at? Replace this P216. O-ring seal. What that is, it's 28 P216. This one is 28 P216. So this seal replaces 21P06, even though it, you know, ain't got it on it. It's a direct replacement for this guy. So that's something to look for when you look for these kits. O-rings always come in handy, and we got a new cap with Loctite on it. We put that up because we probably won't be using none of this. This is basically what we needed to rebuild a kit. New gaskets. Now you want these because you got to shim your end play on your PTO out, because if they whine while they ain't engaged, they too close to the gear and you need to shim them out. So these are needed. Now all these right here, this is your top plate gasket. This is also needed. That's for this guy, and if I did my research correctly, it should fit perfect, which it does. So we can put that to the side. And this right here is all the shims, pretty much, gasket shims and gaskets to set in play on these guys. So let's go ahead and assemble it. I've rambled on for 3 minutes now. Now you want to pretty well set this the way it's going to be on the truck, and this is the way it's going to be on the truck. This to the top with the shaft coming out this side, with this coming out this side. Now these go only one way. Want to make sure it's just clean and everything right here, and they go pretty well facing down just like so. Now I do got these marked with some scratches and some fingernail polish. That's what that white stuff you see on one of these sides here right here is from. So I'm gonna go ahead and then clean the maintenance surfaces up, but I'm gonna wipe them down again anyway. Then we'll get to trying to adjust the in play and stuff, and take some small grit sandpaper and clean this up right here. Get all that dirt and stuff so the seal will have a nice fresh place to, you know, it won't be getting rust on it and stuff. On your side caps, these little end pieces right here, you can take your thing. I don't know if you can see in here, but you got a high, thicker edge and a lower edge. Now to make sure these is right, just go ahead and get this in there. You shouldn't have to beat it. Sometimes you do, but most of the times you don't. Let's push this back out. Now, let's see if we can get that in there now without having to do that. Try to take this gear back out. There we go. Turn it around and just, there we go. It's pretty much fluid into place. And to figure out which way it goes, if you didn't mark them, it's pretty simple. Take your shaft. Yeah, we're going to be playing with the shaft today. And set it in. As you can see, this big wide fat spot is there. It's lined up, and this shaft is centered up in here. Now if you twist this, line it up wrong, you can see the shaft ain't working as smooth, and we're not lined up in the center here anymore. We can twist it back to where we had it, and we're in the center. That's how you can tell which way it goes. Once you figure that out, you can pretty well translate it to both sides, because they both is shaped like that. So pretty well this will face downward too. So your shaft is centered just like so. Next is figuring out gaskets. We got bearing cap, bearing cap, bearing cap. We got 2 of these and 4 of those, and they differ thicknesses what they are. I don't know if you can tell, but they act as shims, you know, different thicknesses gaskets, and they stack them to set up your end play on your leases. And as you can see, we have, looks to be 2. Now these 2 was on the opposite end, depending on your setup, is depending on what you need to shim it. Now this is the side we are working on. As you can see, it's pretty thick. There's actually probably about 5 very thin gaskets put together, and we are going to copy that. And we ain't going to tighten everything up. Well, I'm on the wrong end. We ain't going to tighten everything up on these. We're going to test fit everything before and just snug them up and make sure everything is what it needs to be, so we don't mess up an end play. But the best starting point is start with as many gaskets as you took off, or 1 extra. Usually, well, these is compressed. Usually 1 more helps out. When you tighten it down, it compresses what it needs to be. So I went ahead and just tightened these to pretty much hand tight. No torque spec, 2 bolts. That should even it up. Now tighten them slowly, jumping from one to another, crisscross pattern. And I got my gaskets underneath. Now what I'm going to do is do the other side with the same amount of shims with 1 extra, the thinnest 1 extra, and test fit it and see how it spins in there. You don't want a lot of drag. You kind of want it no play backwards and forwards, maybe just a smidge, and no pretty much no drag on it. That's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead. You can go ahead and just stick this in here like so. And as you can see, we centered up because we put a thing in the way it needed to be. Well, pretty well centered. But right there, but that's the offset of it, but that's the way it should be. Because you spin it around any other way, it knocks it completely out of order. And as you can see, a gear meshes up pretty good down in there. So that's the way it should be. So let's test fit this other side. Everything is meshed up super good. As you can see, I got on both sides. Everything spins extremely good. I cleaned that gear up. It was chewed up. I don't know if you've seen it in the before video, but everything is good. Feels good. My end play, I don't know if I'm going to take a small shim out or not. Let's see if I can turn a flash on for you guys. My end play, let's see if I can hold this steady and try to show you. Hard to do. It's pretty close. I got a little bit. To this part now. I do got a tear down video of this PTO. If you want to see that, I got a link to that in the description. But I didn't tear down this part, and this bolt just breaks loosey. And as you can see, it's covered in grease. And it should be an O-wing. I'll keep up with the way it goes. You can see we got all this stuff right here. Lay it to the side with the bolt. And we check and see if we can find that O-wing on this. Should be here somewhere. But positive there's an O-wing in this. Why wouldn't they be? Now this all comes out one way. Make sure you mark it. There it comes. Just have to put some pressure on it. So O-wing got us. Haha! Told you guys it have an O-wing. Had an O-wing, I would guess. Because it's not there no more. No, there it is. Cleaned it off though, I didn't see it at first. Now a kit came with a new O-wing too, so that's a good thing. Let's go ahead and remove this old one. Ain't the best way to remove an O-wing, but you know what? It works. Now we got a new O-wing. You can take some oil and lube this up good. So I think there's plenty of oil in here. Well, 90 weight maybe. It shouldn't even been in this transmission. Was a ZF4. Was it ZFS542? Simple setup though, as you guys can see. Very simple. You got a spring and a detent ball. That's a very simple setup too. Right there. So I clean this up and we go ahead and assemble it again. Now I got the new O-wing installed. I actually used some transmission fluid on that. Some Macron 5, very expensive, but you know, I didn't have to go outside and get the ATF or nothing in the garage, so it's easier just to use the Macron, a little bit of the Macron that we got for the transmission when we get the PTO back on to fill up. Let's clean this out. All this junk here. Now you want to go ahead and reinsert this the same way it came off. Now if you need to know how it came off, that's why you take pictures or watch this video. Now when installing this, make sure you put your detent and spring in the right hole, because they 4 different applications here. You know, we got us back where it needs to be. Went back and had to watch my video because I got confused off a second. But if you mark it, you know, you would know exactly which way it went. I went by this, and turns out when you remove it, it's all identical. Now, your arm of your PTO, make sure it goes in the right place. Ours was sitting basically right in here, and that's where it's going to go back. everything's working like it should. Now I went ahead and loosened this bolt back up for a couple of reasons. As I'm putting thread sealant on this. Why am I doing that? Because sometimes stuff can go up through that threads and stuff, and it's good to, you know, have. We use 542. I like it on hydraulic lines and stuff. It's pretty good shit. This is a brand new thing of it. Has this cap on it. Works pretty good. You can pull up on it, put it out, close it, open, close. See? So let's put a little bit on a bolt, wherever it got off to. Any of my people will see where I put that bolt. There we go. So we got a bolt here. Let's wipe the threads off a little without losing, well, without losing everything. And guess what? We lost everything. Let's put this back the way I had it, the way it should go, the way it was before I gave it all tuck apart. So that and that. Put some little bit of no things. Don't take a lot. And then we will install it and torque it down to the specs, which is just needs to be tight. We got the washer centered up because it wasn't centered up when we took it apart. Tell you the truth, I think somebody's been in this PTO before. Got that snug down now, and everything is working 10 times better than it did. It's super more smooth. The O-wing was bad and hardened, and helped out a ton. Now we do have this guy. We can remove him, or we price that. That's actually a PTO engagement thing right here. When it's not engaged, and when it is engaged. So I'm going to take that out and clean that and see if it works. Put it on the tester and stuff. If it works, might even hook it up. Okay, on the truck, this will be flipped upside down. So on the truck, engagement is forward here, just like so. So, see that tab? When that tab's off though, there won't be no light. So this is on, and as you can see, you know, there's no point in it because we don't need the light on when it's off. But I'm gonna see what I can find, so it, you know, might be a day or two for me to get back on this project. But for you, let's see if this actually works. I tested it before, but we're gonna double test it again. There it is. That should be in the off section. This will be on the normally on position, and that will be on the normally off position. So we won't have a lamp on now with this closed circuit, normally closed. So now we got a thing installed. We got the actual one for this guy, and it was the one that's normally closed. It's the one that works for this PTO, not the one that's normally opened. So when you replacing your little indicator light thing, you want to make sure you get the right one. Now next is going to be installing this gasket and installing this, and this sets down in place. Make sure this right here is setting in the correct orientation, and everything's working fine. Now when installing these bolts, make sure to use you a Loctite, because you don't want no leaking around the threads, because these holes go all the way through, and fluid can seep through them. You don't want that. So next step is I'm taking my bolts back out of this one plate on this side. I done got it marked, and I'm going to be cleaning the bolts up. Once I get the bolts cleaned, I'm going to use some thread seal on them. Loctite 542, and I'm going to pretty well torque this side down, because we done know tolerances is good. I went with that end plate because these ain't totally torqued, they snugged, and once they get torqued they should be fine. And then I'm going to move on to the other plate and check your seal. And so I got 2 bolts in this. It's actually usually studs, but they had bolts run into the output that goes in this, and I'm gonna have to find actual studs for it, because I like to have these studs back into it, as you can see. So I'm going to probably call and see if I can find some, or go to the couple bolt shops, which we don't have many at all, and try to find them either at Lowe's or somewhere with this. I don't care even if it was a different thread. They don't have to be 2 different threads. As long as this end goes in and it stops and it's this size. But I got this torqued down. So this is torqued down now, both sides, and this is my end play. So I'm going to remove my old seal. This is basically the new seal. Perfect match. You want to always check that before you do this. Now this is actually another day. I took a break on it, and what we got here is the seal, and it's got a lip right here. You can knock it out either way. You can knock it out this way, or you can knock it out that way. I prefer knocking them out this way. So we got the seal pretty well removed. I'm going to take a rag and a little bit, probably a little bit of degreaser, or bright clean, and wipe this inner place out where the seal sets down in it. And this is the factory seal. This is a new one, so want to make sure it's all clean before we install it. I went ahead and coated the seal just a light coat of Permatex white stuff, and that stuff right here is kind of like glue too, so it helps hold in the seal, and it seals up any imperfections to keep your seal from leaking. So now once you get that, you can take your old seal, put it just like so, and tap this down even. The new seal is now installed. It's in our grate. We didn't damage it or anything putting it in. It's always good to use your old seal. And over here we are sanding the shaft. We got the bearings taped off and everything, and we are basically just going to go around and get all this dirt and grime off of it. So I got my cover on now. The bolts is kind of torqued down to basically snug and tight, and I used my Loctite on it here. My favorite brand of Loctite is 542. I also I prefer this with hydraulics and transmission fluid because it's a thread sealant, you know. They have other different Loctites, but that I use that on hydraulic lines and stuff, and it does great. So I hope you enjoyed this short how-to video. Well, it ain't too short, was it? On rebuilding your PTO. If you did, drop me a like, leave me a comment, let me know how you found this video, and I appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button to my channel, and check back often because I do upload almost daily content. Thank you for watching. See you next time.